Good day to all. Welcome to Extreme Recap. The Dark Knight and the Mighty Man of Steel decide to fight each other in a duel, but they soon learn that they must work together to defeat a formidable common foe. We'll talk about the plot of the 2016 Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice movie today. Bruce Wayne saw an armed man approaching to protect his family one night as he was out and about with his parents. Thomas confronted him. He was shot at that very instant. The following day, his wife Martha also passed away. Bruce witnessed the deaths of the people he cherished most. He also went into the woods during the funeral, shaken by the loss of his parents. The kid ran carelessly until he fell into a profound opening. He fell unconscious and had a dream in which thousands of bats saved him and carried him back to the surface. Bruce sees a major attack in Metropolis decades later. A lot of the city is being destroyed by the ship. So he calls Jack and tells his friend to get everyone out of Wayne Financial's building. In the meantime, the billionaire drives toward his business to try to stop the layoff of his employees. However, the building has already been split in half by lasers when he arrives on the scene. Bruce tries to assist the injured, including Wallace, whose legs are trapped under the rubble, in getting back on their feet as the survivors leave the destroyed building a few minutes later. The man shouts out for help, and Bruce figures out how to assist him with liberating himself anyway. He can never again feel his legs subsequent to saving a young lady who was going to be squashed. The finance manager asks where her mom is and finds that the unfortunate young lady has quite recently turned into a vagrant, very much like him, as he focuses his gaze on the sky. Bruce realizes that Superman is to blame for the entire catastrophe that has resulted in the deaths of hundreds of people when he observes the numerous pieces of debris that are falling over the city. Year and a half later, someplace in the Indian Sea, sections of an outsider rock are found. Additionally, they contain a rare mineral from Nairobi known as kryptonite. A city in Africa, Lois Path shows up to do a meeting with General Emma and is met by a picture taker named Jay. Subsequent to presenting himself, the man goes with her to a vehicle. They are then taken to the general's presence and hooded. The man is blamed for being a criminal chief. Additionally, Lois Lane is the first journalist to conduct an interview with him while Amelia is speaking. Anatolia and Jimmy's security guards conduct a search. Nia Breeze tracks down a tracker inside his camera. The photographer claims that Lois is innocent because she knows nothing about the operation and is immediately identified as a CIA agent. After that, Jimmy tries to make a deal with the general, but he is shot in the head and killed before he can say anything. At the point when he hears the shot, Python and his group, which was in mask, embarks for the town to save the columnist. Anatolia and his men, on the other hand, kill Emilia's security guards and then burn their bodies to death. Subsequent to finishing the task, the group leaves, and minutes after the fact, the CIA fires 2 rockets at the commander's camp, which are annihilated by Superman, prior to hitting their objective when he finds the lady was being utilized as a safeguard. However, Superman figures out how to dispose of the general before he could cause any damage to his dearest. When Python and his team arrive at the scene minutes later, they find a few ladies in despair over the deficiency of their spouses who have had their bodies burned prior to leaving. Her notebook is taken by the journalist. All of that atrocity is then brought to court a few days later. An observer recounts her side of the story, pinning Superman for the assault on her town, and says that her folks were ultimately disposed of during the intrusion. At the point when she gets back, Lois unloads her bag and, taking a gander at her scratch pad, understands that it was shot during the shooting. So she chooses to remove the slug that is implanted in it and keep it as proof. When her boyfriend comes home with a bouquet of flowers, the woman is taking a shower. Lois also tries to persuade him to talk about what happened because people are saying that Superman killed those villagers. Nonetheless, Clark claims not to think often about the allegations and says he could not have possibly done anything any other way since he expected to save the lady he cherishes. At the point when he shows up at the Bat Cave, Bruce asks Alfred for help in finding Anatoly Zappi, a Russian man who is wanted for stealing weapons and people. The vigilante theory is that this man will direct him to the unidentified perpetrator of the crimes. On a visit to LexCorp, Representative Finch meets Lex Luthor, who enlightens her concerning his new disclosure, a mineral straightforwardly from Krypton. At the government base, where the body of a Kryptonim visitor is kept, the sample was taken for analysis. At the point when General Zod was presented to Kryptonite, His cells went through a significant biodegradation. Then Lex concocted transforming the mineral into a weapon to use against Superman later on. Should it be necessary to stop him, Blax has access to the Kryptonim's wreckage thanks to his revolutionary idea. Ship and Zad's body will be used for research. Wallace lost both of his legs in the accident and was abandoned by his family. He is now merely a despondent, lonely individual seeking vengeance. The young man makes the decision to visit the superhero sculpture in the city's center one day. He is arrested for vandalism hours later, according to the news. Also, Clark is worried to see what has occurred as he understands that he is working up scorn in many individuals. Bruce Wayne looks for Anatole that night in an underground ring. True to form, the man was there to watch the battles and winds up having his cell phone cloned by the vigilante. The following day, Lois rages into the meeting space to illuminate her manager what her companions from crime scene investigation have said about the slug that was gathered from the desert shooting. These projectiles are not even resold on the black market, indicating that the rebels are being armed by the American government. So she gets a 2-road trip to Washington to demonstrate her hypothesis consistently. In his rest, Bruce fantasies about something connected with the disposal of his folks, and this time, a startling bat emerges from his dear mother's gravestone to go after him. The billionaire then experiences fear upon awakening and takes sleeping pills. The following morning, he meets with Alfred and gives him every one of the calls produced using Anatole's telephone. Bruce concludes, based on this data, that Lex Luthor is in charge of everything. His butler then gives him an invitation to the tycoon's mansion, where a big party will be held. The vigilante, accompanied by Alfred, descends the stairs that lead to the kitchen and attaches a transmitter to the cables in order to collect some information. Once there, he spots Diana Prince and quickly realizes that there is something off about that beautiful woman. Right now, Kindness Graves shows up and requests that the visitors return to the parlor as that area is confined to workers. Bruce then returns higher up and meets Clark Kent while trusting that the exchange will be finished. Alfred tells him to go get the device 7 minutes later, and Clark goes after him to look into it. He is, however, distracted by a gloomy television report, where he finds that there is a structure ablaze in the focal point of the city when he goes to get the gadget. The billionaire spots Diana once and realizes that his drive has vanished. Therefore, he decides to pursue her. Nonetheless, the lady figures out how to escape before he gets an opportunity to scrutinize her, following the victim's rescue. People who are extremely appreciative of Superman and treat him like a deity praise him. Superman's presence on Earth separates suppositions. From one viewpoint, an enormous gathering sees him as a messianic figure who came to the planet to save mankind. Nonetheless, there is a little gathering who view the outsider as a danger. Because if he wants to, he can destroy the entire planet. Disappointed by the reports in regards to Superman, Clark chooses to call his mom around midnight, and Martha can comfort him subsequent to committing defacing on the landmark raised out of appreciation for the city's most noteworthy superhuman. Wallace is taken into custody, but he is soon freed because no one else has paid his bail. At the point when he returns home, he meets Lex Luthor. What's more, besides the fact that he gets him out of jail, yet the man gives him an electric wheelchair as a gift. Days after the fact, Wallace goes to Congressperson Finch's office to demand a public interview, where he intends to confront Superman at the opening of the museum. Diana is considering a few old curios when Bruce appears and requests that she return the gadget she took the prior night. With the information he gathered from Lex Luthor's chateau, the lady then says she accepts Luthor has a photo that has a place with her. However, she was unable to get it in light of the fact that the records Bruce duplicated have military-grade encryption before she leaves. Diana expresses that she didn't take the drive, she just acquired it. When Bruce reaches his hideout, he will also discover it in the car's glove box. The tycoon starts the decoding and winds up nodding off simultaneously. In his fantasy, he tracks down a city in vestiges and show to various groups. Batman then recruit a few people to take the kryptonite that is held by Lex Corp. Yet, falls into a snare when he goes to get the merchandise. Another gang engages in an attack to steal the mineral during this shootout. When flying monsters suddenly appear, the vigilante immediately engages the soldiers in combat, and everyone band together to capture him. Bruce is then taken to an underground dugout and is visited by Superman, who kills every one of the fighters and afterward goes after his most prominent opponent. This very moment. All of Bruce's files on his drive have been decrypted when he awakens, startled. Among the various pictures, the very rich person finds an image of a boat that is being utilized to ship the kryptonite mineral. The example found in the Indian Sea will be taken to Lex Luthor, and Bruce expects to take it to dispense with Superman since he has sufficient ability to wreck all of humankind. The shipment is then removed from the ship at night. That man shoots a tracker at the truck and pursues it in his Bat Portable, removing any and all enemies from its path. His vehicle is attacked by men heavily armed during the pursuit. However, the vehicle is still functional. In any case, when Superman shows up without moving, he figures out how to stop the Bat Versatile and undermines the vigilante to stop his activities in the wake of flopping in his main goal. That man gets back in his destroyed vehicle and tracks the truck's area through the sign transmitted by the mineral has, as anticipated, been transported to LexCorp's Research Park, where Luthor already has ambitious plans for it. Together with Wallace, Senator Finch organizes a press conference in which he invites Superman to appear before the Senate to provide an account of what transpired in the African desert. Clark is unsure whether to make his statement and seeks the advice of his mother while watching the news. Kahina gets home from a long day at work, and as she gets off the bus, she sees Anatole talking to her father in fear. The woman goes to Senator Finch's office to tell the whole truth about what happened in Africa and makes the decision to change her destiny. Before entering the conference room, Finch meets Lex Luthor. Just as the hearing is about to begin, the senator learns that Kahina has been threatened by Lex Luthor security guards to sue Superman for the death of her family. Who wishes her best of luck at her question and answer session subsequent to coming clean to the congressperson. Kahina goes to the tram to get back. Notwithstanding, as the train draws near. When Superman enters the meeting room, Anatolia appears and knocks the woman down on the tracks. The representative expresses gratitude toward him for going to the conference and furthermore says thanks to Wallace for giving her advancing that gathering. The lady then, at that point, expresses that she will uncover every bit of relevant information during that question and answer session. Yet, suddenly, Finch is overwhelmed by a horrible inclination as she takes a gander at the seat held for Luthor. She understands that the financial specialist didn't go to the gathering, and her doubts that something terrible is going to happen are affirmed. All of a sudden, there is a huge explosion, and the building as a whole is destroyed. After the fiasco, the only person still alive in that room is Superman. The superhero then facilitates the escape of the few survivors who were in other rooms, as well as the medical team. Superman sees Lois in the crowd and flees that night when he arrives at LexCorp, frustrated that he was unable to protect those individuals. Luthor discovers that Batman was the one who stole his supply of krypton and soon learns that headquarters has been broken into. Looking for new examples of the mineral, the man enters the spacecraft and figures out how to assume control. Accessing information from large number of various universes. He learns that genetic material and subjects can be used to revive bodies in this way. General Z promotions body to the course of transformation. Bruce works hard to get ready to confront Superman during a new investigation into Lex Luthor's stolen files while the weapon that will kill him is being made. He finds the picture that Diana had been looking for, and to his surprise, the woman looks exactly the same as she did a century ago. The nation as a whole began to wonder if Superman was involved in the explosion in the days that followed the tragedy. After all, he has unlimited power, yet he did nothing to protect those individuals. Lois discovers that FBI while watching the news. Agents are looking into whether Wallace assisted in the explosion's execution after discovering a lot of bomb-making supplies in his home. So the possibility that Superman was an assistant has not yet been precluded. On the same day the writer goes to visit Wallace's home and understands that he had been shopping before the public interview, and that implies that he didn't realize he planned to die that day. When I talked to Janet. She learns that Wallace's wheelchair and the Desert Bullet were both made of the same material, which LexCorp manufactures. Luthor was the person who embedded the bomb inside the wheelchair and covered it with lead so Superman couldn't see it. One night in the wake of going home, Martha acknowledges she is being sought after and is caught by Luthor's thug. Lois Lane experiences the same thing as she exits the Daily Planet building. The lady is then taken to the highest point of the LexCorp building where she meets Luthor. The businessman pushes the journalist from the top because he is aware that she is the quickest route to Superman. True to form, the superhuman makes an appearance to save her. Furthermore, in the wake of taking his dearest to somewhere safe, goes to account with Luthor. Notwithstanding, before Superman could cause anything to damage him, the man uncovers that he has found the superhuman's actual character and lets him know that he is with his mom. Although Luthor has no idea where Martha is hiding, his men have been given the order to eliminate her. Assuming anything terrible happens to him, the hero must eliminate Batman in order to save her. Additionally, Luthor intends to permanently harm Superman's reputation by committing this crime. In the meantime, one of the lowlifes, cohorts puts a bomb in the room where Martha is stowing away and the blast will occur in under 35 minutes. The hero immediately travels to Gotham with the intention of persuading Batman to assist him in saving his mother. The Bat will have to die otherwise. In that instant, Diana is in her hotel room when she gets some messages from Bruce Wayne. One of the messages tells her that the billionaire has found the picture she was looking for. When he meets Batman, he inquires about the identity of that woman and sends her a number of files containing images of other metahumans that have already been discovered. In an effort to explain the circumstance, Superman asks for his assistance. Clark, on the other hand, responds to the Bat's attempt to harm him. Out of nowhere, automatic rifles show up and begin discharging at the hero, who annihilates them with his laser shaft. Superman attacks his foe with fury, but the vigilante uses a smokescreen to distract him. To weaken his opponent, he then fires a projectile containing a gas based on kryptonite. Since the alien has lost his abilities, he can easily attack Superman, striking him multiple times until Superman regains his strength and can respond. When Bruce fires another shot at the superhero, he is about to be eliminated. Clark also loses his superpowers once more. The alien's body is then thrown to the first floor by Batman, who strikes him in the head. He ties his feet and drags him along the ground before using the hero's body to sever the ruined building's pillars. At the point when Superman no longer has the solidarity to stand up, the Bat takes his kryptonite skewer and means to drive it into his chest. Nonetheless, after hearing rival requesting help to save Martha, the vigilante is taken aback. For that, is his mom's name. Enraged, he asks the superhuman who he is alluding to. Then, at that point, Lois shows up and uncovers that Martha is Clark's supportive mother. Right away, Batman discards the lance and commitments that he will save her. In the interim, Superman should pursue Lex Luthor quickly. In an effort to free the woman, the Dark Knight approaches the location where she is being held and attacks Luthor's henchmen. The negative is severely outnumbered. As the spot is encircled by outfitted safety officers, he still defeats them and eliminates all of them, however, opening the way to the hideout. He realizes that Martha is in the Anatolian sites when he finds her. So Bruce establishes the put ablaze and wipes out the firearms while safeguarding the lady with his cape. Lois Lane, on the other hand, seizes the chance to get rid of the kryptonite spear and throws it into a lake. After showing up at the kryptonim transport where Luthor is, Superman illuminates him that he has lost that fight. Since Martha is safe and Batman is still alive, the villain presents his latest creation as a last resort. Produced using the remaining parts of General Zod. The Beast then went after Superman, and the two go to confront each other external the boat. Subsequent to tossing a substantial wall on top of the superhuman, the animal tosses its body against a structure and goes after the paper helicopter that went there to film it. Diana is on a plane just about to take off when she sees Doomsday in the newspaper. Several police planes tried to kill him, but they all go down at once. The woman decides to end the trip so she can help after seeing the disaster. In the meantime, Superman sends the adversary into space. Also, the military sends a nuclear bomb to obliterate them. As a result, no human will be at risk of harm. After the blast, a shot falls east of city, and the warriors before long found that the animal has endured the assault. Because it has taken in the bomb's energy, the monster has gained even more strength. When Superman gets close to the creature, he is unconscious and floating in space. When the Batman ship is attacked, he realizes that the only thing that can stop it is his kryptonite spear. Therefore, the vigilante plans to lure him to Gotham. However, his ship has been shot down, and laser beams are about to strike him. Wonder Woman appears suddenly and blocks the attack with her bracelets. By this point, Superman has also recovered sufficiently to return to Earth on a mission to eradicate Luthor's anomaly. Understanding her mix-up, Lois races to the lake and enters the water trying to recover the lance. However, when a doomsday attack occurs, the building is destroyed, trapping the journalist in the water by the debris. As the legends collaborate to go after the outsider, General, Lois attempts to get back to the surface, however tracks down no proviso to get away. Throughout the battle, Superman hears the lady's crashes of depression and promptly flies toward her to save her. After removing Lois from the water, he goes for the lance and is as of now debilitated by simply drawing near to the mineral. After that, the journalist hands Clark the weapon and gets up. A couple of meters away, the superhuman spots his buddies being thrashed by the cryptogenic beast, who is by all accounts totally invulnerable. Consequently, despite his beloved's pleas, he makes the decision to self-sacrifice and uses all of his remaining strength to fly to his adversary. Batman fires one of his smoke projectiles at the monster, and Superman smashes his spear into his chest as Wonder Woman immobilizes Doomsday with her lasso of truth. As of now, the animal assaults him back and pierces his heart. Clark continues with his mission despite the agony and uses a weapon to penetrate the general's body. In no time, both are dispensed with, and Lois goes into despair when she sees her beau's dead body. After Superman penance, the whole planet is saved and Lex Luthor is at long last captured. On the day Clark Kent was laid to rest, Lois is in the room where her boyfriend used to sleep when he was younger. Martha appears at this time and presents her with a surprise package from her son. At the point when she opens it, the writer finds that she would have been approached to wed him in the event that all that misfortune had not occurred. In the meantime, the army recognizes Superman as a great soldier at his wake. However, Clark's actual body was buried just a few feet away on the farm where he grew up, so his coffin is empty. Bruce and Diana grieve the disposal of their buddy. The billionaire believes he has let Clark down and takes responsibility for Clark's demise in his vision. One method for vindicating himself is by get together other metahumans so they can battle together for mankind. As a result, he asks Diana for assistance in completing this task. So, turn on notifications, please subscribe for more videos like this, and like the channel to support it. Thank you very much for watching.